the bubble bursting? Here's a rational guide to an irrational market. What's up, everybody? Welcome aboard to Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, November the 30th. Wow, the year's flying by. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I hope you had a great holiday. I hope you saw those wonderful, amazing upsets on Thanksgiving Day and on Black Friday, but it was a wild one. In the meantime, the question is this a bubble? Is it bursting? And what should be a rational thought to a market that is really very much irrational? And I think the first is to remember that we do have bubbles. They do burst, and you should be prepared. Now, when we talk about being prepared, it isn't doing anything different than you already do. It's being aware that it can happen and watching your leverage and your investment and your power, because we know there's a lot of funny things that are going on in the markets today, because you can see that by the lack of volume. We'll get more into that in our market report, but those are things to think about. In the meantime, there was a UN conference that proves the climate agenda is about the money, not about the climate, which is what we have said here for years, that the climate change, again, if you believe in climate change, hey, I'm not mad. I don't, but that's fine. But at the end of the day, the bullshit that you see out there, that you hear out there, that you read out there is exactly that. Okay, it is about the money. It is not about the climate change. It is not about the event. It's about how can the political scene grasp and steal more of your cash. I mean, the perfect example is the Nancy Pelosi retirement. Came into office with $3 million, left office with over $150 million. I don't know. I don't know anybody who's that good of an investor, but we all know, we've all witnessed that there's a lot of graft. There's a lot of things that go on in politics behind the scenes. They call it sausage making. They call it whatever you want. At the end of the day, you want to fix the climate, there's one simple solution. It's called nuclear power. You can use many reactors and not have one big reactor. I'm tired of hearing about 3 Mile Island. I'm tired of hearing about the bullshit. You want to fix it, that's the salvation. That's the way you fix it for everybody without the American taxpayer getting screwed. Okay? The grim unemployment picture is combined with the worst since October of 2021. Well, again, we keep talking about how good the economy is, but it's not that good. It's good for some, but not good for the majority. Okay? I think that when you look at it, you can see that it's not, because we have what we call the K-shaped economy, okay, which means that few are doing well and many are not doing well. And I think that the jobs are telling you that, the layoffs are telling you that, producer price index for goods and services blast higher. So once again, you cannot continue to raise the cost of goods and services when salaries do not keep up with those hikes. It just doesn't make sense. The math doesn't work. You're creating more poor people, okay? Instead of making things better. And of course, a lot of this has to do with the Federal Reserve. A lot of this has to do with the stupid, ridiculous talk of rate cuts, because they will never work. They have not worked in the past. They didn't work under Greenspan. Okay. Yes, again, it works for a few, but as United States of America, everybody should have an equal and fair opportunity to be successful. And we have taken that ability away from many that can't live from paycheck, that have trouble living paycheck to paycheck. Consumer confidence dropped sharply. No, again, in all honesty, I don't have any problem. Okay, my life's not going to change. I'm going to go to restaurants. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do whatever I want. But for the majority, what does it leave for them? Okay, I went to dinner the other night, 5 people, to a reasonably priced restaurant, $900 for dinner. I mean, really? I mean, I find that hard to believe that the average American can stop out and drop $900 for dinner. I don't see it. Can't go to a baseball game. You can't go to a sporting event. And a lot of that's due from the way they deal with interest rates and create all this higher inflation because that's what really happens. The devaluation of the currency, your dollars are worth less. We've already discussed a couple of times about the difference between home ownership and your salary versus today versus 1985. So look, a lot of things coming, but uh, the Fed Beige Book shows the K-shaped economy, upper income strength, the middle class struggle. So then that's not me. That's the Federal Reserve talking. Okay. And I have no faith in the Federal Reserve, but there's their report. So again, when we look at it, we say, okay, but should we be accepting of all of that? And again, this goes back all the way back into who we put in office, how we let them control the country. But of course, when you have the great divide that we have right now, okay, and when you have certain places vote one way and certain places vote another way, and you can actually vote in a communist, which again, think about it, okay, we're teaching our children, okay, the communism. I mean, beneath the sheep's clothing is the communism that you teach your children, not you, but your teachers, our schools. I mean, our school system is an absolute joke. Okay. So, again, I think you have to take those into consideration. Home buyers score record discounts and sellers slash prices nationwide. Well, we talked about this for the last couple of weeks. Well, now it's coming to the headlines. I said it to you first. Now you're seeing the headlines, and you can go to builders and negotiate price on a brand new home. But the key here is now is rates. Okay, they're dealing on rates, so because they have the ability to take advantage of some of the rate cuts, which we don't. But you're now seeing that again, they're offering 2.5, 3.5, 4.5% interest rates, locking in at 4.5, when the actual rate on the street is, let's say, 6 to 7%. Doesn't that reek of a potential bubble? Okay. Again, let's just keep ignoring the facts and the problems that are right in front of your face. Okay. And someday it'll blow up and you'll say, oh, I should have seen that. Well, I'm pointing it out to you now. Okay. Wave of job losses already underway. And again, if you're having massive layoffs before Christmas, which you are, okay, what do you think is going to happen after Christmas? Okay. We see monster sales at these stores and big numbers that they've created, but they're not making money. So at the end of the day, one of the things we know about business is you got to make money. Okay. I mean, the steep discounts are ridiculous. Millions to receive credit scores under new models, but it's a trap. Look, when you could call when you see the advertisements on TV to improve your credit score with doing nothing, isn't it, how stupid is that? Okay, I mean, credit scores are supposed to be based on something you built, on a faith that the lender has a good faith that you have the ability to pay the money back, not on some artificial bullshit score. This is no different than what countrywide mortgages did in the early 2000s. Okay, I mean, we keep forgetting where we were and how we got there. Phony credit scores and lending money to people that can't pay it back is foolish. But we talked about this last week with the debt, the fifth-year mortgages, the rolling over the credit cards. It's somewhere you got to stop it. Somewhere you have to really put it in the end, because at the end of the day, we, the taxpayer, end up financing all the bad debt that's made anyways. We bail out the banks. It's not the Federal Reserve that's bailing out the banks. It's not the government. It's your tax dollars. Okay. And is NVIDIA the next Lucent? Now, you have a lot of guys. Michael Blurry is now short NVIDIA. Jim Chanos, who the world famous short seller, is now short NVIDIA. And I'm not saying one is or the other, but I am saying that I think the market is in a bubble right now, and it is due to pop. And listen, I've been saying this for over 12 or 14 months now, that I think we're seeing a correction. We're going to see a correction of 40 to 60%. So I'm not changing that. But again, I told you I couldn't tell you when. But the question is there's talk and there are stories and there is a little bit of proof that NVIDIA is financing companies that don't make money to use their product to improve their overall sales, but they're actually paying for it themselves. They're funding their own growth, okay, through, let's say shell companies. It's not really shell companies, but again, is that a fact? Well, two very smart people have recognized that fact. Two very smart people have shorted that stock based on that fact. You're the one who has to do your own homework and think, is that correct? I don't know the answer, okay? I don't go that deep into it. Certainly, I think NVIDIA is a good company, but some of their sales and some of their PE, some of their value may be a little bit misleading. I think it's something to think about. I think that's one thing that we always have to do is we should think logically, whether we're panicking or we're getting greedy. I think you should always sit back and take a deep breath first before you make a decision. In the meantime, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you had a great holiday. We're going to stop out of here for a break. This is Bubba's Bottom Line for Sunday, November the 30th. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors with Bubba's Bottom Line. What's up, kids? Hope you're having a great holiday. Hope you're enjoying family. Hope you didn't eat too much, but normally most of us always do on this holiday. And of course, we do have sponsors, brokerage partners. I do have other brokers, just to give you full disclosure. But our partners are TRADIER Brokerage, which, again, what can I tell you? It saves me $100,000 a year in commission. They coordinate with all of our automation. They're $10 a month flat. They had great service. I mean, I don't know what else, what more I could ask for as TRADIER Brokerage. You can see the information on the website for as the tape scrolls by. And of course, Capital Trading Group, our futures and commodities partner. I mean, they do a lot of great stuff. They had great customer service, always willing to help, and we do a lot of partnerships with them. And of course, the Joy of Mom, which is a great new app, which hopefully you'll download for free and check it out and give us your input on what you think. But it is a place where moms can help moms, and it's a place for information, help, and talking about different agendas and different issues that people have throughout the world, and having a place to go do it without being harassed. So check it out, The Joy of Mom, and of course our high school program, which again, we want to educate our children. It's sad, but we do have a new report coming out and a new a financial thing to help people in general. So we'll have words on that soon. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Bottom Line with me, Todd Bubba Horwitz, and of course our market report. Welcome back. It is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Todd Bubba Horwitz, and it is Sunday, November the 30th. We are looking at, of course, Thanksgiving weekend. And again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope you enjoyed the holiday. In the meantime, as we look at markets exploded higher last week after we thought. Now, again, one thing I can say to you is that the markets did not explode on any volume. There was zero volume. In fact, the last 3 days. Now, Friday, the volume's going to be a little bit skewed anyways, because the mercantile exchange had troubles and couldn't open until 7:30 in the morning, normally open all night. But at the end of the day, the volume was extremely light. In fact, the volume, basically, the last 4 days of volume didn't equal the last two. But again, volume is volume. We're not predicting anything, okay? But I did say, and I still believe, that the overall top is in the market. And if we violate about 6890 in the S&P, and we're right there, I mean, we're 20 points away or so. But if we go over 6,900, then I'm going to say that I'm wrong, okay? And I mean over 6,900 S&P and close there, I'm going to say that I'm wrong. The top is not it. But the action that you saw last week was a great story of a market bouncing with a rip your face off type rally from oversold conditions right into resistance and right into the top that we identified a couple of weeks ago. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, there's no reason to do anything dramatic. Let the market trade, let it tell you, and you'll see. But there is a lot of reason to believe that this is a bubble. There is a lot of reason to believe that the short sellers are right, but it doesn't mean they're going to be right tomorrow. One of the things as a trader and investor, you have to put your leverage in play and your risk, okay? And you should never be investing or trading with more than you are comfortable with if it goes against you. Okay. And I think that, again, I think that we are in a bubble. And I do think that NVIDIA is probably doing a little shady business. Again, they're just investing in companies of shell companies and basically creating artificial earnings. But we'll see. We'll see how it works out. Again, I would be more on the side. Now, I own NVIDIA, but I'm more on the side of Chanos and Blurry. That we're probably going to see a little bit of a sell-off. Again, remember, we had a big sell-off in 2008. Look at where we are now, much higher. So sell-offs are part of the world. Sell-offs are part of the market. So don't put yourself in a tizzy. Be prepared for it. Just know this: markets go up 8.5% year over year and have done so for history. In the meantime, in the markets themselves, the dollar a little bit lower last week. We don't trade it, but if we did, we would have been short. Euro currency a little bit higher. We're still flat. Bonds and notes, kind of blasé. Kind of peaked, pretty flat. We're flat. Bitcoin maybe has found the bottom at 80,000. Bounced sharply, but we'll see. Again, this is the same, no different than the market. Okay. In fact, Bitcoin is in a bear market. Let's see what happens from here. The metals continue to be strong, but really they're just strong in consolidation. We're flat. We are long Bitcoin, by the way. Copper is pushed higher once again and is now trying to break out. So now you have that opportunity to break out. We'll see. If it does, we have no position. We're flat. The grain markets were a little bit choppy. We're still short corn and we're still short wheat. I mean, soybeans, wheat and soybeans, excuse me, not corn. Cattle markets had a little pop up, but again, overall, they're down. And again, you're getting that same dead cat bounce there as well. So I think just, again, it's something to think about. I would be more of a seller, and certainly I'd be a seller of cattle at 320, at live cattle at 225. Feeder cattle I don't trade, but if I did, I'd be a seller at 330. Hogs has a nice bounce off at 80, off of 78, as we talked about. Nat gas was a little bit higher. We're short. Crude oil was kind of flat, and we're long. In the meantime, it's still slow. In the meantime, we've got 3 weeks of the actual trading. I mean, yes, there's longer to the end of the year, but the December expiration for most people is like the end of the trading year. So we'll see how it goes from there. Be careful, but I think it's just important to note and watch what happens around 6,900 in the S&P. If it fails, we're probably going lower because we've had the Santa Claus rally. In the meantime, let's get back to the markets and see that where we're going to head. But I think that again, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we continued a little bit of rally, but I do not believe this high is going to be taken out. I do believe the highs are in. We'll see what it's like, and we're going to take a break. This is Bubba's Online for Sunday, November the 30th. We'll be right back with our commentary. Well, kids, again, just a reminder of sponsors: TRADIER Brokerage, Capital Trading Group, The Joy of Mom, our high school program, and a new newsletter coming out. In the meantime, let's get back to Bubba's Online and my commentary right here on November 30th, Thanksgiving weekend. Welcome back. This is Bubba's Bottom Line. It is Sunday, November the 30th. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And of course, as we talk about what's going on in this country, we're getting more and more into communism, more and more into communistic views. It's always been somewhat taught in the school system. I think that's where obviously the problem starts, is in our schools, our education, because they teach more of socialism and communism. And again, you see what's happened in Chicago. You see what's happened in New York with the elections of idiotic mayors in those two places. I think you have to recognize that free stuff is not free stuff. Free stuff is a gimmick and a scam to lock you into a bad philosophy in life and to actually strip you of whatever you're worth. Communism and the way that we see things going on in New York and other places like Chicago are actually to strip you of your assets, to distribute them to others. But at the end, who do you think ends up with the money? The top, the politicians, the kings, whatever you want to call them. You have a perfect example of what is starting to happen in this country as to what happened in Venezuela. Venezuela was one of the few countries that could have sustained socialism, could have sustained everybody happy. Okay. But of course, when it comes to money, Chavez and Maduro stole all the money. Okay, the people are poor when the whole country could have thrived. And this is the problem with the communism, socialism type of world. We're letting things get too far away, and too many of these people hatred. Let's say Donald Trump. Okay, is the wrong way to think about things. You have to think about what he is doing for this country. Do you support, not that you hate him, do you support the things that he's done for this country? If you don't, then it is your job to look for another candidate. But we have far too many political people in this world that do not have the American people's best interests at heart. And I assure you that the mayor of New York and the mayor of Chicago do not have the best interests of the citizens of the city. And that would be my opinion. And this, of course, is Bubba's Bottom Line. And I just hope you all use your noodle and think about it before you make the next crazy view of who should be in office. In the meantime, happy Thanksgiving to all. I hope you're having a great weekend. And for those of you who like my football picks, which have gotten better, we're not having a great year, but they have gotten better. Okay, we do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, we do like the Seattle Seahawks, and we do like, believe it or not, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Have a great weekend, everybody. As always, I thank you for listening. This is Bubba's Online for Sunday, November the 30th. Adios.
Joy of Mom is a platform to connect mothers everywhere with trusted information, practical tools, and a vibrant, family-focused community.
Gold IQ Group, the smartest minds in metals, for all of your precious metals needs.
Capital Trading Group, the introducing broker for serious futures traders.
TRADIER, options trading starting at $10 per month, flat fee.